Vuforia Studio's 2D interface can be customized through the use of CSS styling. Each item has a corresponding class property, which can be used to define the CSS style used by the item. Vuforia Studio utilizes the Ionic Framework, which comes with pre-built CSS classes. The default classes can be viewed in the Theme Editor under Configuration. To use Ionic Framework classes, simply type the name of the button you want to use into the class box in your own widget. With Ionic, you can switch between a light and a dark theme for your buttons. If you want to further customize the experience by defining custom CSS classes, this can be done through the Application Styles Editor, which can be found in the project pane under Styles. Any style you set in the application file can be used with any compatible widget in the experience. For example, if I want to set a custom style for the buttons in my experience, I can use the following syntax to do so. The following code defines a CSS class called button1. As you can see from the code, you can customize the size, color, and font of the button using this class. There are lots of CSS properties that allow for further customization. These properties are standardized across web apps, and there are many resources online documenting CSS properties. One particular resource is W3 Schools, which is linked in the description. To then apply the CSS class to a widget, select the widget and type the relevant name under class in the Properties pane. Hit refresh and you can see that the style of the button has been changed to match. If you see that the object doesn't change, double check your CSS, as if there are any errors, Vuforia Studio will simply use the last existing or default class. The animation property of CSS can also be used to further customize widgets. This can be done through the use of the keyframes rule to define an animation. For example, the following fade-in animation defines the opacity of the object, such that it goes from invisible to visible. The 0% defines the beginning of the animation and the 100% defines the end. You can then define the animation property along with its duration within a CSS class like so. You can also add movement and translation to your animations. For example, if you want a slide-in panel, you can also animate the colors changing. You can also join multiple animation properties in one keyframe. For example, if you want to animate a slide-in animation that changes color, we can write both property keyframes at the beginning and end. Notice that our animations play immediately when we load our preview. To control when animations play, you can simply change the class of the widget when you need it. For example, we can use a JavaScript function to change the class of this button and bind it to when it's clicked. To learn more about using JavaScript in Vuforia Studio, check out our video on the topic. That was a brief overview on using CSS classes to further customize your Vuforia Studio experience. If you want to learn more about the 2D canvas or more advanced Vuforia Studio functions, feel free to explore our video playlist.